Hello and welcome to the True Blue Riffcast, the number one RiffTrax podcast in the world. It's that time once again, folks. A year has gone. At least I think it was only 1 year. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 2020. What can you say? All the memes. But you're Jeremy, right?
I am Jeremy, and I am joined once again by...
I'm Dave. I just wanted to make sure. So I'm here with my horns and my face paint. Oh no, wait, that's not what we're here to do.
Oh yes, it's that time for us to go through and tell you our picks for best RiffTrax releases of 2020, as well as give you the results of the poll. We did a fan poll that went for a couple weeks just to give everybody enough time to watch a few more, maybe that they had been meaning to get in and tell us which their favorites. That was really bad, but you know what? We're going to power through it.
Yeah,
we're going to power through it. We're just going to keep going. We're going to keep on trucking, as they used to say 50 years ago.
Yeah, it's early for us. Both me and Jeremy work nights, so technically it's like what? It's 8 a.m. where I am.
Yeah, it's 10 here.
Yeah, so I mean it's earlier, but like for me it's like, 6 p.m. Because I just got back from the night job.
The night job. We also have some surprises for you.
How surprising! Is this a surprise for me too, or is it something that I already know
you
about?
are well aware of this.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, here's hoping that that this next year is a little shorter in terms of how long it feels.
Well, we're already off to a great start.
Yeah, we sure are. Let's get our first category out of the way here.
Okay.
The best RiffTrax, Just the Jokes MP3 release.
Okay.
Dave, what was your favorite out of the 4 that we got this year? Here, we'll run them down for you. We had Star Wars Episode 9. We had Avengers Endgame, Gymkata, and Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. Well, here's the thing. Of those 4, I think I'm probably... I know this is going to be controversial, because I know a lot of people are going to say it was Gymkata. But I'm going to have to go with Mortal Kombat, just because, I'm biased, but I can do that. This isn't the news. I can be biased. It's a podcast, for crying out loud. Mortal Kombat is one of my favorite movies of all time, getting to experience with the RiffTrax peoples was pretty cool. So I'm going with Mortal Kombat.
And mine was Gymkata. Yeah, and not just mine, it was also the winner of the fan poll with 30.7% of all voters picking Gymkata. Mortal Kombat was right behind it.
Oh, I was about to say, do I need to be angry with everybody because watch Mortal Kombat come in last?
29.5% people voted for Mortal Kombat, so they were neck and neck. It was very close.
Oh, okay. Remember when our parents died?
Yeah, speaking of someone else who liked Gymkata, here is a little message from Matthew J. Elliott.
Hi there, it's Matthew J. Elliott, the not quite so funny one from Brit Riffs, wishing you all a happy 2021. And what a year 2020 was. I will always prefer to think of it as the year of Gymkata. And to be perfectly honest with you, I can't think of a single other thing that will ever be connected with the year 2020. So let's just settle on that. It was the year of Gymkata, and we can all remain happy in the knowledge that that was one of the best riffs ever produced. But what a year for me. Yes, let's talk about me for a while. The thing that people, I think, really care about. I'm very happy to say that in this year, I produced, I think, 2 of the best gags I have ever written for RiffTrax Presents, and not even for me and Ian. I wrote them for Mary Jo and Bridget. I thought that my career had peaked in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane when I wrote the gag, "If you're still hungry, there's a dead physiotherapist in the freezer." But then I got to work on the Rue McClanahan classic Baby of the Bride and was able to write the gag, you look as if Amanda Bierce and Maya Rudolph were in a teleport accident. And to be perfectly honest with you, at that point I thought, nailed it. I can die happy now. So, this is me, Matthew J. Elliott, slowly dying happily. God bless you all, and have a great 2021 with RiffTrax.
Thank you so much for that, Matthew.
Yes, thank you, Matthew. You're a great, fantastic, wonderful human being who I would never try to impersonate. It didn't happen. There's no recordings of it.
Never happened.
It never happened.
Especially not when we were preparing for this episode.
No, not at all. I wasn't doing my best. I wasn't doing my best Matthew J. Elliott impression. But here's the thing: it might be the world's only Matthew J. Elliott impression. Oh, dang it! I just admitted that it exists. So
don't worry about that. That one will not. That one will not make the Patreon. It's okay.
Okay. All right. Good.
Speaking of Matthew J. Elliott, let's take a look now at the best RiffTrax presents VODs for the year. Our category includes Sherlock Holmes' Terror by Night, Strange Impersonation, Lady Mobster, Sherlock Holmes and the Secret Weapon, Bride of the Gorilla, Assignment Outer Space, Frankenstein's Daughter, High School USA, Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory, Amanda and the Alien, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and Baby of the Bride.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
RiffTrax presents be representing, as they say on the streets. So, what's your favorite RiffTrax presents of the year, Jeremy?
For me, I don't know. It's a close one. I really liked Lady Mobster. I think that's probably my third. Assignment Outer Space would take second place for me, and Werewolf, Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory is probably my number one.
Neither one of us can speak today. This is our season finale. We need to step it up. But you're going with Werewolf?
Yeah, Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory, I think was my favorite one of the year.
Right. For me,
from Matthew J. Elliott and
Ian Potter. For me, it comes down to Assignment Outer. Well, I like Bride of the Gorilla a lot, so that's my favorite. Bridget and Mary Jo. As for Matthew J. and Ian, I'm torn really between Assignment Outer Space and the other one, Werewolf. Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory, because they're both just so weird, but they're so weird in different ways where you just kind of just like where you just kind of like look at them and you're just like, what the hell, and Ian and Matthew both like their what the hellness in both of these movies is just like, bah, right? So it's like so entertaining to because you're like right there with them. I was prepared to say it was Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory, but I think I got to give it to Assignment Outer Space just because it's just so damn weird. If I'm being completely honest, I think Assignment Outer Space probably beats out Werewolf as far as the Matthew J. and Ian Potter riffs go. Bride of the Gorilla definitely for Mary Jo and Bridget.
All right. Well, this is one that the fans picked a little bit differently.
Oh, really?
Their third place at 29.4% of all votes goes to Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory. Second place with 29.5% of the votes goes to Lady Mobster. Mm-hmm. And the number one riff, according to our fans, is High School USA.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The weird 80s failed TV show pilot thing with Michael J. Fox. That was a good one. That was a lot of fun.
It was good, but just Bride of the Gorilla just seems more RiffTraxy, though, in my opinion.
Yeah. Here's another special message, this time from the other half of BritTrax. It's Ian Potter.
Hi, I'm Ian Potter, the devilishly handsome one out of the criminally underrated British RiffTrax Presents team, Matthew J. Elliott and Ian Potter. Although that is also a claim horrendous road accident of the team Matthew J. Elliott and Horrendous Road Accidents can make. I've been asked if I'd tell all you lovely people, and potentially Matthew, my favourite RiffTrax moment of the popular space year 2020. Now, at first I thought that was going to be tough and potentially embarrassing, as I listed in detail my half of all the bits I did with Matthew in 2020, but then I realised my actual fondest RiffTrax related memory of last year, and amazingly it's a sincere one. I was quite ill in 2020, I don't know if you heard, but there was a lot of quite ill back then, and things were very uncertain and scary for an awful lot of the year. Well, during that time, the RiffTrax people were incredibly lovely, supportive and kind to me. Mike, Bridget, Kevin, Bill, Mary Jo, and the, I suspect, unsung behind-the-scenes guy Casey, who makes so much happen for us, all reached out to me in ways I found really moving and supportive. Matthew was also fairly nice. So I just want to tell you, if you're fans of RiffTrax, and why are you listening to this if you're not, you've chosen some beautiful, warm human beings to support. And I thank you and them for that. And their kindness is a moment I will always treasure from the year just gone. Here's to the future. Did that sound mawkish enough? Should I cut the bit about Matthew being quite nice?
Thank you for that, Ian. That was surprisingly heartfelt.
Well, some awful nice things he had to say. I mean, Ian already got sentimental, so I mean, I guess I'll get sentimental here. Like, we're opening that Pandora's box. Like, that got to me a little bit. Like, you know, Ian be like, I mean, we don't have much of an association, but we have enough of one where, like, you know, if something exceptionally bad were to happen to him, I would definitely have feelings, you know, about it.
Yeah.
You know, like, put it together, everybody. So to hear that, like, you know, that got to me. So yeah, good man there.
Yes.
Good man.
Yes.
He's a good man.
Nothing but good health to Ian in 2021, please.
Yeah.
That's what we want. Let's move on now to best RiffTrax shorts of 2020. And this field always has a lot of competitors in it.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, there's only one, far and away. Maybe even the best thing RiffTrax has done this year, but we'll get to it.
Yeah. So let's quick do a rundown of all of the shorts for the year. We started out with...
no, are we really going to do that? There's like a ton of them.
It's fine.
Okay.
We started off the year with Bridget and Mary Jo doing Squeak the Squirrel. And then we got Kid's Guide to the Internet and Bicycle Safety Camp, both from Connor Listoka and Sean Thompson. Then A Green Thumb for Macaulay, Beginning Responsibility, Lunchroom Goes Bananas, Little Red Riding Hood, Arranging the Buffet Supper, First Aid for Children, I Can Do It Myself, Appreciating Our Parents, An Airplane Trip by Jet, Speak Up Andrew, Keeping Clean and Neat, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, which of course we talked about here in the podcast.
that one is excellent.
The Big Yellow Fellow, My Brother is Afraid of Everything, Am I Trustworthy, U.S. Electors, How We Vote, Voting at 18, Victory Squad, Tuesday in November, The Munchers, Alias St. Nick, December Holidays, The Snowman, The Blessed Midnight, and Santa's Spaceship. Dave, what is your pick?
My pick is, I think you already know what it is. It's Kid's Guide to the Internet. That is like, okay, look, I'm going to plant a flag, and this includes any full length VOD done by Mike, Kevin, and Bill. Sorry, I mean, you know, I'm not saying any of that stuff was bad, but I'm saying that Kid's Guide to the Internet is hands down, far and away, the best thing RiffTrax did this year.
You know what? I think I'm inclined to agree with that.
Yeah, I watched that thing. Okay, look, dang it. I'm not like Ernest Klein or anything. I don't want anybody out there to get like the wrong idea. But this thing, Kid's Guide to the Internet, that Sean and Connor did, it was so good. And it just resonated with me that much. I watched it 4 times in a row. like back to back. Like I have to see that again. 2021, if we don't get a full length riff from these guys, I just don't know what RiffTrax is doing anymore if they don't put these resources to use. Like it's that good, and I think that like that is such a great untapped potential for the company and for its content. I mean, coming from the number one RiffTrax fan, which is me, Dave, we got to have more of that, man. That was awesome.
It was very, very, very good. My top 3 for the year. Now, this shouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah.
The Munchers is my number 3, which that was just a fever dream of tooth decay. That one. It was absolutely insane, and kind of terrifying at the same time. But I loved it. It was great. Bicycle Safety Camp, my second favorite of the year.
Yeah, that'd have to be my second. Is
from as we lovingly refer to them as Con and Shauner.
Shut up.
And of course, number 1, Kids Guide to the Internet. It was an amazing introduction to Connor and Sean riffing themselves, and just like the same as Dave, I watched it multiple times in a row. It was so good. Like I couldn't get over how good it was. And like just thinking about it back now, a year later, I'm just like, that was so good. Bottom line, we need more from Connor.
It's like my brain is releasing dopamine into my system right now, just thinking about how awesome that was. Okay. But to bounce off what you were saying, I think my number 2 for shorts would have to be the Bicycle Safety Camp, obviously. But my number 3, I think, would be the Goldilocks one.
Yeah, the weird live action.
Yeah.
Let's use the Real Girl and Real Bears.
Yeah. Those bears didn't care.
Oh man, but you know what? The fans agree with Kids Guide to the Internet being the best one of the year because
it's unanimous.
Because 68% of people who voted in this poll picked Kids Guide for the Internet. 68%. The next closest was Bicycle Safety Camp with 25%. That's how good Kids Guide to the Internet was. This had like amazingly large margin over anything.
It's a Pandora's box because it's like, it's like because usually with shorts they go back and they get all these public domain things from like like Coronet and things like that. But Kids Guide to the Internet was something that like resonates with with us, guys in their 40s now. Yeah. Oh God. But there's just so much there, like from the 90s, and like I don't know what the licensing issue with a lot of that stuff is. It's probably very complicated. It's probably a big reason why we haven't gotten a whole lot more. It was like the possibilities.
Yes, and now, what do we need him to do now, Dave?
Baby ghost, baby ghost, We joke about Baby Ghost, but here's the thing: I would take anything from these guys at this point. I mean, it wouldn't even have to be a VOD. I mean, just like an MP3, something. Just gonna throw some suggestions out there: Shawshank Redemption, Glengarry Glen Ross.
Coffee is for closers, Dave.
Yeah. Are we not closers, Jeremy? Did we not get coffee? I have some Dr. Pepper and cream soda here that I'm drinking at 8:15 in the morning.
Yeah, anything from them at this point would be outstanding. Yes. Speaking of Sean, check this out.
Hello, True Blue Riffcast. Sean Thomason here, senior writer and producer at RiffTrax. As for my favorite moments of 2020, of course, I selfishly have to mention Kids Guide to the Internet and Bicycle Safety Camp. because I'm on those. And if you haven't checked that out yet, how dare you? But my favorite moment of the year probably goes, it's a tough one. It's a really good year, but Lichen Colony, the Z-grade werewolf movie we did, specifically the scene with the creepy werewolf waiter guy who in one scene says, tender. And also the classic, mistake, after he makes a mistake. I think I just like how self-aware he was. Anyway, thanks everyone. Have a great year. Bye.
Hey, thanks, Sean. That was good. Yes, Lichen Colony and tender. Definitely one of my
Mistake
from that movie. Yes. And now let's hear from the other half of that duo.
Hey, Riffcast. Connor Listoka here. Thanks to Jeremy and Dave for inviting me on. Looking back at 2020, maybe not the best year of my life, but definitely in the top 3 years of my life. I'm just kidding. I think my favorite RiffTrax moment would have come in right at the end. I really enjoy doing It's a Wonderful Life with everybody. I'd sort of been pushing to do that for many years now, and it was always a stretch goal that got sort of relegated to the utmost tier that we never ended up hitting. So it was a real treat to get to spend a lot of time with a movie that we all love. And I think everyone sort of brought their A game, and just really fun to explore the details of that movie from a comedy perspective, because I thought it worked really well. I was really proud of how it turned out. And of course, it was really fun to take a crack at that bicycle safety camp short with Sean, because that was something that I had always, I knew about that because my cousin had it in their basement when we were probably 13 years old. So we would watch it and make fun of it then. And it was surreal to do that 35 years later, and not 35, 25 years later, and get paid to do it. So that was fun. I'm glad everyone really enjoyed it too. It was heartening to see the response that it got. So thanks again, guys, for keeping the Riffcast going, and for everyone else who listens and who watches our stuff. Hope we actually get to do some live shows in 2021, but regardless, we're going to keep the funny coming. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you, Connor.
Wow, we're just awash with celebrity walk-ons, or in wrestling we call them run-ins. Come run in, and Connor just smacked me in the back with a metal folding chair. Take that, pa! I've taken over your podcast.
We definitely plan on keeping the Riffcast going. So don't worry about that, Connor. You'll still have plenty to listen to. And now I think it's time for the main event, Dave.
Yes. RiffTrax VODs, or VODs, as I always all the time call them. RiffTrax VODs. That's a lie. I don't really call them VODs.
This year was a weird one because, and not just because of everything else in 2020. I just mean release-wise.
Yeah.
Because
we didn't have any live shows.
No, there was no live shows.
That's so weird. Well, not weird, what can you do?
It was unusual, and it sucked. And like Connor said, hopefully we get some more this year, depending on how things are going by then, which I have a feeling they'll be better this year by summer.
I'm going to make this promise right here on the True Blue Riffcast, is that I will be at the next RiffTrax live show in Nashville. I've decided that that's something that I'm committing to. Like, whenever it is, that's something that I want to be at. So,
but we started off the year with highly muscled butts. We had
oh my
Sunset Strip.
That's such a long time ago.
It really feels like forever ago.
It does. It doesn't even feel like it was like recent. Like, no, like highly muscled butts was like, that was a year ago? Really? It feels like it was like 10. It feels like Birdemic. Oh, hey, we need to do that. Hey, this is an idea because I'm about to make you feel old now, Jeremy. Are you ready for this? Strap in. In February, it'll be the 10-year anniversary of RiffTrax releasing their Riff of Birdemic. You're welcome, everybody.
I hate it when you do that, Dave.
10 years.
Oh my gosh. That's ridiculous.
I was 30 years old. And now I'm not.
No, you're not. Let's see. Sunset Strip. Shape of Things to Come. Then we got the Lorenzo Lamas fronted Bounty Tracker. followed by the snooze fest of a movie that was Hijack Flight.
Oh, God.
Velvet Smooth after that.
That was really good. I liked Velvet Smooth a lot.
Velvet Smooth is good. Ninja Warlord, a very enjoyable riff. I think is just going to kind of go overlooked by a lot of people because of some of these other ones that came out this year, like Lovely but Deadly. Then we got The Most Dangerous Game, the one that was Kevin, Mike, and Bridget instead of Bill.
Yeah.
Suburban Sasquatch.
Run around. Run around. Run around.
Then we had Disney's musical Aladdin, The Return, Stitches, Vengeance of the Dead, Light Blast.
Woo! Light Blast!
Lycan Colony, Martial Law 2 Undercover, Beaks, Charade, Jacko, Battle for the Lost Planet, It's a Wonderful Life, Special RiffTrax Edit, and Merlin's Shop of Mystical Wonders.
Which is their most recent release.
Yes.
You know, for me, that didn't really upset the apple cart as much as I'm not saying it's a bad riff. I'm just comparing it to how the apple cart for riff of the year was upset significantly by Attack of the Super Monsters in 2019.
Yeah, but I would say that it was upset by the release before Merlin's Shop. It's a Wonderful Life. That
definitely upset the apple cart quite a bit. And it created kind of a ethical dilemma for me in my life as a RiffTrax fan and observing RiffTrax and evaluating where things go, placed in order, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But what do the fans have to think? Let's put ourselves, let's make what we think the main event.
Okay.
That way we could say that, it has more weight that way. Us, yeah.
Well, the fans kind of were split on this one. We had a 4-way tie for second place.
Really?
Each of these got 28.4% of the overall vote. We've got Aladdin, Light Blast, Lycan Colony, and It's a Wonderful Life.
Those were all tied for second?
Those were all tied for second place. I've never seen anything like this. This was absolutely bizarro. The number one movie was kind of off on its own a little bit at 37.5% of overall votes. Suburban Sasquatch.
Suburban Sasquatch. That doesn't surprise me.
No, that does not surprise me one bit.
Yeah. What was number 3? What got number 3?
Well, if we go from outside of the 4-way tie for second place, Lovely but Deadly.
That's too bad. That's a really good riff. Like you said, it's probably going to get buried in the craziness of everything that happened in the year. And because it was right around that time. When was Lovely but Deadly released? March 27. Yeah. So about that time.
Right when everything really started.
Right when everything went to hell.
Yeah. And then, of course, it was followed up by Suburban Sasquatch a couple years later.
And then that was followed up by Aladdin. There's just a lot of craziness this year. I don't know if I would put it on the same level as just constant, continuous crazy that they were throwing at us in 2017. But now let's revisit last year. I don't remember what our number 2s and 3s were. I think we both picked Attack of the Super Monsters was in there somewhere in our top 3. Is something that we both picked. I know that. But 2019, we both unanimously agreed. And I was kind of surprised by this. I was surprised at how this dark horse became Riff of the Year on the True Blue Riffcast was The Visitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The right balance of weirdness and badness.
Yeah. We haven't shared our lists with each other yet. So do you want to go first with your top 3 or should I?
I'll go first with mine.
Okay.
I'm sure you're going to have some differing opinions on some of these, but for me, it was tougher for me to choose the order for a couple of these. Aladdin is my number 3 for the year.
In China,
my 1 and 2 Uh, I was trying not to let my personal bias weigh this too much, and I was trying to go just from sheer entertainment value, but I failed. Suburban Sasquatch is my number 2,
No!
and Light Blast is my riff of the year, Dave.
Is it really?
It is. I just that meant so much to me to see that one actually get riffed. And then of course, the quality of the riffs on top of it.
Yeah.
I've rewatched that one more than I've watched anything else VOD wise this year.
Yeah.
And it's just the more I watch it, the more I enjoy it. And that's not to say that Suburban Sasquatch doesn't deserve to be number 1. Just I let my bias get in the way on this one.
Hey, that's totally fine. In fact, I'm going to agree with you slightly. Only ever so slightly is that my number 3 is Light Blast. Woo! As well. So Light Blast is my number 3 for the same reasons. We've discussed about it on the podcast. Jeremy and I discovered Light Blast together, and I like to believe that we're the reason that RiffTrax did it. It's probably not true, but that's what I tell myself, because like every chance we get, we're just like, when are you guys doing Light Blast? When are you guys doing Light Blast? When are you guys doing Light Blast? And they finally did it. Yeah, so this one definitely is something. If I still had time to do the riffwiki.net riff of the year, like review every single one, I don't back when I first started, the riffwiki had all kinds of time to do all that. I don't have that kind of time anymore. But if I was still doing that, I think probably Light Blast would probably be my Editor's Choice Award.
Nice.
My number 2. See, now, between number 2 and number 1 is Where It's a Wonderful Life really threw a wrench into things. Obviously, what I'm talking this Suburban Sasquatch, obviously, and It's a Wonderful Life for me were the 2 big contenders for Riff of the Year. Mainly because It's a Wonderful Life, I think, is probably one of the most important additions to the RiffTrax library, into the RiffTrax canon. That if it went up against anything else, I'm looking at the RiffTrax wiki that I unfortunately have kind of, I don't really have time to edit it the way I used to. I already covered that, but just looking at all the VODs from the past year, if it was up against any of these, it would get Riff of the Year running away, no question. But we do have Suburban Sasquatch in there.
Yeah.
And Suburban Sasquatch, I cannot justify not giving Suburban Sasquatch Riff of the Year. As much as I love It's a Wonderful Life and its importance to its place in RiffTrax lore and RiffTrax canon, all that, it's number 2 for 2020. Just gets second place for me, and number 1 goes to Suburban Sasquatch. That's just the way, that is just the way it has to be.
Yeah, teleporting Bigfoot.
Yeah. Because it's just so amazing. It's almost like the room. I can't believe this thing. I mean, I know they've talked about it on Red Letter Media, and it has a lot of people who know about it through that. But at the same time, Suburban Sasquatch is not like The Room or Birdemic, where it has massive pop culture attention on it. And it almost feels like it should. So in many ways, it's like Roller Gator. But
except it doesn't have the noodling all the time, so don't worry, guys.
Yeah, right. But the thing is, I kind of feel that Roller Gator probably doesn't deserve to be as well known as The Room or Birdemic. As much as I love Roller Gator, Like I think I would prefer that it remain kind of like this, like little found treasure that like not a whole lot of people know about. Like like I can like annoy RiffTrax fans by saying that like, hey, Roller Gator, and just watch them lose their minds. Be like, and just like the renting of their garments and Roller Gator. Like like I think that's where Roller Gator needs to live. But Suburban Sasquatch, like I don't know, I honestly don't know how it hasn't reached like in the mythos of something like a Neil Breen movie, or things like that. Because you just look at, I mean, and it's everything about it. I'm so glad that RiffTrax did it and made it part of the RiffTrax canon, because man, it belongs there.
Yeah, it really is. It really is an amazing addition to the catalog. Like, and honestly, like I said, personal biases aside, it was an amazing riff. So you mentioned Neil Breen there, Dave.
Yeah.
A lot of people have him on their wish list for a movie that they would like to see, or something along those lines. What do you have? What do you have on your wish list that you would like to see? I'm not going to include Neil Breen in this because we've talked about this before slightly, but he thinks too highly of himself. He is the exact opposite of, say, David Giacola
or Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
Well, I would include Neil Breen, but I would say just do one. Do Double Down, because I kind of had a falling out with Neil Breen. I was kind of upset with him, and I'll tell you why. Neil Breen, all his movies are kind of the same. I mean, and it's say what you will about Birdemic and Replica and Julian Jack all kind of being the same movie, because they are and they aren't. But like with a Neil Breen movie,
it's literally the same.
It's all the same. Like I feel like he doesn't get really any better as a filmmaker. It's a weird thing with like, say, when you look at somebody like James Wan. His first movie was Julian Jack, right? So you would think with Replica he would be better. No, he got worse. And Birdemic is worse than Replica. He actively got worse, and I'm not just saying that because I hate the man. But you take someone like James Wan, and you observe that he just goes downhill. I don't think Tommy Wiseau's even really made another real movie since The Room. So I mean, like, his legacy is kind of like stamped like right there, bam, that's what it is. With Neil Breen, he just stays the same. He just gets older, So I would say just do Double Down. That would be my wish as far as Neil Breen goes. But I don't think it's going to happen. If I were to get my wish list, things that like I would like to see happen, but I kind of know they won't, because they've kind of gone off in different directions. I'd like to see the Hunger Games get finished, because nice. Yes, I would like to see them do the 2, 3, and 4 of those. I'd like to see them do something epic. I'd like to see them do Watchmen. Because Watchmen,
that would be a good VOD, or a good MP3. I mean.
Yeah, good MP3. I don't think you get Watchmen VOD.
No,
I mean, I love Watchmen. That's on my list of top 10 favorite. Gosh, I'm getting so Kleinian. What's wrong with me? But it's not most favorite movies of all time. But I am a big fan, unironically, a big fan of the Watchmen movie and of the novel. But I think the Watchmen is like visually and like, just like content wise, I think it's really, really something that lends itself well to what RiffTrax does and is the perfect kind of RiffTrax movie. Weirdly, in the same way that Street Fighter is a perfect RiffTrax movie, and also that Mothra is a perfect RiffTrax movie. I think in that vein, visually and content-wise, I think Watchmen would lend itself really well to what RiffTrax does. So I would like to see the Hunger Games. I would like to see Watchmen. I'd like to see Double Down. Other than that, I don't really have an extensive like B movie wish list. I think at this point, like, that mine has been, well tapped. I don't know if you can tap a mine. You can tap a well. But I think, but I also really, things I don't want to see is like Dinosaur Island. Don't do that. That's awful. Don't do Mortal Kombat Annihilation. That movie is, but I think I would like to see just kind of like a little bit, not much of one, but just kind of like a what do you call it? A renaissance of kind of like what RiffTrax was, around 2011 through like 2015, to where like, there's like this really awesome mix of MP3s and VODs. So to that end, I would say Hunger Games, Watchmen, Double Down. That's what I would like to see. But, I know, I'm not going to hold my breath for all of them. I'd like to see it, and I'm not complaining that it might not happen. But wish list, I think those would be pretty awesome.
Well, for mine, I have a few specific things. Obviously, there's the long dreamt of Masters of the Universe. I would love to see that actually happen.
How many canon films have they actually done? I know Bridget and Mary Joe did one, or no,
yeah. Bridget and Mary Joe did one,
and they did the Apple.
The Apple, yeah. Just those two are the only.
Yeah, I think those are the only canon films that they've done.
I mean, there's plenty of other canon films that if they could get their hands on, outstanding.
It would be fantastic. But like, but I'm not one of those guys. Sorry, I'm interrupting you again. I'm not one of those guys that says like they need to do. I see this from time to time that RiffTrax needs to just like go through the entire canon catalog.
Yeah. No, I just want a couple, like specifically Masters of the Universe, like everybody else.
Long awaited,
Long awaited, yes. There's a couple other movies that I have that I know I've suggested before. Frogs, that weird ecology. Ecosystem Fights Back movie, where the frogs don't actually ever kill anybody. Like there's a lizard with like a gas gun. Let's say it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
The Dungeon Master with Richard Mall playing the devil. That was a good one. And
Bull?
Yeah.
Played the devil.
Yeah. It was this weird anthology movie, and it was. I don't know if we've talked about this or not before, but there is a RiffTrax connection in this movie, via one of the directors of one of the. Charles Band. Charles Band was one of the directors. That's what it was.
Oh, nice.
And he did a bunch of other wonderful things. But there's that Dungeon Master. It's also called Rage War, like over in the UK or whatever. And of course, there's always the old standby of Haunted Ween. And my last wish is a new movie that's going to be coming out this year, 2021, directed by Mark Polonia, and that is Feeders 3, The Final Meal.
Is that really happening?
It is really happening.
That's a real thing. I know you told me about it. I thought you were a liar, sir.
No, that is a real thing, and I'm super
the
excited.
Final Meal. Oh my God. Now wait a second. How is he going to do that? How's he going to do that without his brother? That's sacrilege.
I'm sure it'll be dedicated to him, like 100%.
Is he gonna shoot it on a VHS camcorder? WTF?
I don't know. Their whole thing is still low budget horror sci-fi action films, so I doubt that it's going to be much different from the other ones.
Now, of course it isn't. I mean, they're the Polonia brothers.
So
I have to check out
really,
some of their other movies. It's just like, oh God.
I'm really hoping we get that one, and I have a strong feeling that we will. And maybe not in 2021, but maybe 22 or whatever.
2022, yeah.
It'll happen, I'm sure. But yeah, that's it. That's my wish list.
Okay, now let me ask you this. I'm going to throw you a curveball. Are you ready for this?
Sure.
Are you ready for this curveball? Okay. So, 2021 live season, we're going to have Hobgoblins and Amityville 4.
Yep.
If they were to add any live show dates this year, and they were based on classic RiffTrax VODs, which classic VODs would you choose? Let's say you get 2.
Guy from Harlem. And...
Okay, and you get one more.
Ghost House.
You bastard! Those are my choices too.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Those would be great additions.
It's unanimous.
Yeah, I guess that means they have to do it, right? If we both agree.
Yeah,
on
they
it?
have to. Yeah, but I mean, we run the show apparently. Yeah. Get on it, guys.
Oh man.
Anyway.
So all right. Let's do a quick recap of our favorites for the year. Of course, Kid's Guide to the Internet.
Yes, Kid's Guide to the Internet.
You know what? I think I agree with you on your point you made with this. Kid's Guide to the Internet, overall, best thing they released this year.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, and again, we all love pancakes. It's not to denigrate Suburban Sasquatch or It's a Wonderful Life or anything.
Nope.
Or anything else that they did. It's not about that. It's just that Kid's Guide to the Internet, I think, was the highlight of the year.
Yes. And that came early in the year too, which is
it was like
nice.
In February. I remember because it was it was when I was still wrestling. It was like when we still had, we could still go places. I remember because it's like I was late to training because I watched that thing 4 times in a row. I turned 40, so I decided I had a good 3-year run being a pro wrestler in my late 30s. So I decided to, I haven't told very many people this, but I've decided to hang it up.
Rip Charlie B.
Yeah. Well, he lives on in our hearts, but, yeah, there are some other things about that, but just like, I bet to say that, I just remember like I was just late to training because I have to drive from where I live near Ogden, Utah. I'm just gonna let that's real. I'm just gonna let that sit there. If you understand it, great. If you don't, well, listen to 372 pages. We'll never get back. Yeah. So I have to drive from where I live near Ogden, Utah, down to Salt Lake, and it's like a 40-minute drive. I did that 3 times a week for like 3 years, and kind of glad that I don't do it anymore. But I was late for training because I was watching Kid's Guide to the Internet over and over and over and over.
Chadwick, why are you late?
I was watching Kid's Guide to the Internet from the 90s, man.
Oh man, that's a good reason to be late.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. VODs, Suburban Sasquatch, Light Blast, It's a Wonderful Life, all great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory, Assignment Outer Space, both great VODs.
Oh, well, let's not forget Bridget and Mary Jo. High School USA. And
Yep.
and I believe I chose Bride of the Gorilla. Yep. Just checking my notes.
Yep. Bride of the Gorilla. Yeah, that's good. It's definitely a good year for RiffTrax. We had a lot of really good stuff. And, Suburban Sasquatch and It's a Wonderful Life are both up there now in the pantheon of RiffTrax.
I think we would be remiss if we didn't at least acknowledge that Lichen Colony exists.
Mistake!
Yeah. So, I mean, it wasn't in, I'm pretty sure it was in the running for Riff of the Year for you.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, but,
number 4 for me.
For me, it's notable because it is technically worse than Roller Gator. And I never thought we would get something that was worse than just like on a filmmaking level, something that's worse than Roller Gator. And I love Roller Gator, right? We all love pancakes. I love Roller Gator. I'm not trying to put Roller Gator down, not trying to do that, but it's pretty bad. But Lichen Colony is worse. By a lot. I never thought we'd get there, but here we are. Do you think in 2021 it's possible to find something worse than Lichen Colony?
Yes. There's always something worse, Dave.
I don't know how that's possible.
I already brought one up. Haunted Ween. Come on.
No, Haunted Ween is better than Lichen Colony. Yeah. Yeah.
It does actually have some slight production value.
Yeah, no, there is some slight craft to Haunted Ween. But
there's always something worse, Dave. Just when you think you've scraped the bottom of the barrel, you find a whole new level underneath it.
And even below that, there's Chad Vader. Hi-yo!
Ah, yes, you are correct. Oh man, what a year! What a year!
What a year! So that's our season finale, right?
Yeah. Thanks to everybody for listening to us throughout the year. If you're new here, hey, thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you stick around. We'll be starting season 3 very shortly. Maybe have a new feature to talk about. But we still got to suss that out here on our end. And we're going to wrap things up right now, and we're going to tell you not to make a mistake like the guy in Lichen Colony, and go check out our Patreon. It's patreon.com/TrueBlueRiffCast. You can head over there. You can support us for a couple dollars a month, and you get access to some outtakes, some chatter that we do beforehand, before we actually start the podcast itself. And of course, you'll get previews at what's coming up. You'll get early looks at, like today, where we had some audio from Matthew J. Elliott, Ian Potter, Sean Thomason, and Connor Listoka. And thanks again, you guys, for that. That was awesome. And you'll get all that stuff if you go over to the Patreon. And once again, that is patreon.com/TrueBlueRiffCast. And I am Jeremy. You can find me at pbandawesome.com, on Twitter and Facebook at pbandawesome. And you can follow the podcast on Twitter at tbriffcast.
And I'm Dave. You can check me out at davechadwick.info. And you can send me emails at dave@trueblueriffcast.com.
And we will see you guys in our next season. Woo!
Woo! Happy 2021.